Thor is Danish, and he is a travel adventurer from this planet. And he is a goodwill ambassador for the Red Cross. So let's please give Thor a hand of applause.
My name is Thor. I have a project called Upon A Saga. I left home 4 years and 4 months ago to go out and visit every single country there is in the world in one single unbroken journey, completely without flying. I did this after discovering that this is something no one has ever done before in history. And now 4 years and 4 months later, I understand why. It's really, really hard. And I miss my home a lot. I have not been home in this entire period. And I have a few stories for you which tie into fate. Okay? So I'm going to take you back to the end of 2014. I was in the Caribbean. I was on an island called St. Martin. That's about 10,000 kilometers away from here. And I was looking for a boat so I could continue traveling. And I spent a lot of energy trying to get into who can I meet, who can I talk to, can I find a ship that's going to take me to the next destination, maybe a fisherman, maybe a banana boat, maybe a cruise ship, maybe the military, who knows. Maybe I can build the boat myself and go to the next place, but I need to go to the next place. And it was just impossible, and nobody wanted to help me, and I didn't know what to do. And it was New Year's Eve, and I didn't plan about New Year's Eve at all. I was just on my own, but I heard there was going to be some nice fireworks down on the beach. So I decided I was going to walk from my hostel about half an hour down to the beach, and I had something to eat. And then I went down on the sand, and it was about midnight, and I sat down in the sand, and there were thousands of people dancing and partying and drinking, and I was thinking about my boat. And then the fireworks started, and it was spectacular. About 13 minutes uninterrupted, fireworks all over the sky. And then I decided, okay, I'm tired. I spent a lot of energy trying to find my boat. I will go back to my hostel. And I walked back. And then when I got close to the hostel, which is in a very dark area and in a place where many people said, don't stay there, they will kill you and rob you and things like this. But usually people don't kill you and rob you no matter where you go. Someone stepped out of the shadows. And he said, you didn't see me, did you? I said, no, I didn't. I said, no, yeah, sometimes you have to stand and hide in the shadows and observe. And I said, okay, well, okay. And he said, my name is Gold Teeth. I said, okay. And he had gold teeth and a lot of tattoos, and he was really gangster and things like this. He said, we have to be quiet because my wife and my 4 children are sleeping. I said, okay. And then he talked to me for a little bit, and he told me I had a hard life, but everything about me is real. I'm real, man, I'm real. I said, yeah, you're real, I can see you. And he said, yeah, I was in prison for many years, and he was maybe 33 years old or so. But he did spend 8 or 9 years of his life in prison. And he was assassinated once, and he showed me that he had been shot through his hand, and I go like, wow. And he said, yeah, and then 7 times in the back, and he showed me his back, and I went, okay. And I said, well, I'm going to bed now. I said, I don't sleep, I'm always awake. I said, well, I do sleep. And so I walked over to my door, and my keys were gone. And I was thinking, wow. I was so tired, I could fall over, and I was just thinking, what am I going to do? And Gold Teeth is there saying, what's going on, man? What's happening? I said, well, I don't have my keys. I said, where's the last place you saw it? I said, well, I'm pretty sure I must have dropped them when I was sitting in the sand on the beach. And go, yeah, man, I'm going to take my ride. We're going to go down to the beach. We're going to find your keys. And so, all right, then. And so I get into the car together with Gold Teeth. And we go very, very quietly out of the driveway and out on the road. And when we get away a little bit, he cranks up the volume. And it's like, nigga this and nigga that and nigga. And I'm like, wow, okay. I said, yeah, man, everything about me is real. I said, yeah, it is. And we got down to the city, and people were partying, good times, New Year's Eve. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to find these keys, ever in my entire life. An entire beach full of as many sandcorns as there are stars on the sky. And I walk down between all the people, and I see my keys. I go, wow, that's incredible. So I pick up my keys, and he's waiting there listening to his music. And I get back in the car, and I'm trying to be as gangster as I can. But I'm not so gangster. And we get back, and when we get back, he parks the car, and he says, you want to see a gun? And I say, no, I'm fine. He says, yeah, man, come over here. And he reaches into a bush, and he takes out a plastic bag, and there's a chrome gun. He says, look at this. And I go, like, yeah, it's shiny, it's nice. So I said, yeah, everything about me is real. So that was New Year's Eve between 2014 and 2015, about 10,000 kilometers from here. New Year's Eve 2016, 2017 was a little bit different. I had reached Cameroon, and I was trying to get into Gabon. This is all in Central African region, about 4,000 kilometers away from here. And I just couldn't cross the border into Gabon. And I was being denied for the third time, and it's a really long story, but just believe me, I tried, and I wanted to give up, and I wanted to go home, and I couldn't see why I was doing any of all of this anymore. And then I finally meet a guy that I met a few days before, and he got me smiling, and I looked for some energy. And then I got into a taxi with another guy, and we traveled for about 800 kilometers on New Year's Eve, and people were partying, bon année, and they were going crazy, and dancing and fireworks and having a good time, and we were just trying to get to the Congolese border. And then in the middle of the night, we run into some armed guards that are drunk out of their mind, and I've seen this in movies, and I've heard these stories before. I knew from that moment that was the end of my project. No more Once Upon a Saga. I'm going to die in the jungle. The last thing that anyone's ever going to hear is what happened to him. He got into a taxi, and then we don't know. And every minute I was thinking, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And they were cruel, and they were vicious, and with their guns in the dark, in the jungle, and no one around. And I just thought it would be so easy for them to kill me and put me, and no one would ever discover me. And then after 45 minutes, for no reason whatsoever, they let us go, me and the taxi driver. And we got back to the car, and we went as fast as we could. And then I got to the border between Cameroon and Congo. And it was the 1st of January, very early in the morning, and they were still drinking and dancing and partying and bon année, bon année, bon année. And I had not been eating for about 2 days, and I hadn't been sleeping for about 2 days, and I was covered in dust, and I was so tired. And there was this really nice immigration officer who said, yeah, give it a try, but we'll see what happens. And he stamps me out of Cameroon, and I find a truck that's delivering beer in the middle of the jungle, and it takes me 50 kilometers to the immigration on the Congolese side. And then I have a horrible experience there where they hated me because I had the wrong skin color, and especially because the immigration officer there had a sister who wanted to go to Europe, but she couldn't get her visa, and now it's payback time. But that story is also really long, and it involves guns and force and screaming and danger. But I got out of that. And then I had to get back in the truck without my passport and then go back to Cameroon, 50 kilometers, again in the jungle on a bumpy road. And then at that point, I was so tired I could drop. And the immigration officer sees me and said, yeah, we know that guy. We felt like maybe you wouldn't get across. And so I said, okay, but come over here and have a beer. And I was thinking, maybe I don't want a beer. I don't know what to do. My visa had expired in Cameroon. I couldn't get into Congo. I was just stuck in the middle of a jungle, and I didn't know where to do, or I should call the Danish embassy, or what should I do, and so on. He said, yeah, have a beer and relax. We do some dancing, and we'll have a good time. So we sat down for a second. They gave me a beer. People were dancing. I was just sitting, dust, my hat, my beard, and drinking a beer and thinking, my life is over. Why am I doing all of this? I'm so tired. And then they give me another beer. And then they said, listen, we're going to give you a room for the night. We're paying. Don't worry about this. We like you. And then they put my bags in that room. And then after 2 beers and no sleep for a couple of days and no food for a couple of days, I was like, okay, I need my room. And I go to my room, and there are no windows, and it's just dark, and it's concrete walls. So I turn on a small candle. I light a candle. I put it on the floor. And then I think I'm covered in dust, and I'm so dirty, and I need a shower. And there was a bathroom and a bucket, and I could bathe myself. So I think, okay, I need clean boxer shorts. And I took those boxer shorts, and I was holding them like this. And then 8 hours later, I woke up on my back with my boxer shorts like this. And then I thought, okay. And I got up, and they were still bon année, bon année. This is now the 2nd of January. And they said, listen, we like you. We're going to make the paperwork so you can travel back up to the capital, Yaoundé. No one will stop you. If they stop you, you show the paperwork. Everything will be fine. And I get into a Toyota Corolla, which is filled up with people. We were 9 people in this Toyota Corolla. There were 4 people sitting on the front. So the driver's seat had 2 people, and there were 4 legs between the pedals. And then 5 of us on the back, and then all the luggage. and then a dirt road and going 90 kilometers per hour. And one by one, people, they start falling asleep. Because, bon année, bon année, bon année. And I'm looking at the driver, I'm sitting behind the driver, and I'm looking at the driver and you can see him going like. And then after a couple of hours, it happens. He falls asleep, the car starts doing this, there's a cliff. This is a part of the world where no ambulances are going to come. And if a car hits the ditch and starts flipping with 9 people inside, it's game over for all 9 people probably. And the ones that survive will die in the situation. No one will be able to come and help. Are you okay? So he fell asleep, the car went like this, and in a split second, I wasn't thinking, I wasn't doing anything, it was my body, it was just pure reaction. My hand went out, took the steering wheel, I steered us back up on the road, we continued, the driver woke up, he was angry with me because I had my hand on the steering wheel, and then he looks at me and he looks at the situation, and then he nods like this, like he knew. And then he didn't fall asleep again. And I looked around the car, and the other 7 people were sleeping, and nobody knew what happened that day. And now I'm thinking, because I do not particularly believe in fate, I believe that so many things happen every day, and with enough time, everything that can happen will eventually happen. And if I hadn't been in that car, I've been in Congo, then maybe something else would have saved these people in the car. But maybe there is fate. What if I had not been sent back from that border? What if I had not been given that room and I had been sleeping for 8 hours? Then I would have been in a car where I was sleeping together with everyone else, and the car could have flipped. So that's my 2 stories for you. Thank you very much for listening.